How do you become absolutely magnetic, irresistible to a perfect, loving partner? It starts within. At least that's what my guest, Emyrald Sinclaire, believes. She's a love and manifestation coach, and today we pull back the covers on the ease and flow of finding and keeping your perfect partner. And if you're already in a partnership, we've got some tips for you too. So learn about soulmates and masculine and feminine energy, how your own personal growth journey affects your relationships, and more as we dive deep into the world of love, growth, and gorgeous, long-lasting partnership. Flowdreaming, still kinda woo-woo, is just what it sounds like. An escape into the world of woo, also a ride into you, and how to feel happier, wiser, and more self-aware in every way. It's your ultimate journey into personal growth and inner power. We'll explore ideas like how your energy self influences the kinds of opportunities you encounter, or how your personal growth can drive your business growth, or even how that feeling of being stuck is really always coming from something else. We just have to figure out what. That's right, we're a dash of woo-woo, a sprinkle of self-care, a heap of problem-solving and pattern-busting, and a giant cup of encouragement. We're going to relight so much passion, purpose, self-love, and confidence in you that you practically stagger. I'm Summer McStravick, your host, and welcome to Flowdreaming, still kinda woo-woo. Emyrald, I love having you here. Emyrald and Summer are in the house. We're going to jump in and talk today about love, belonging, affection, intimacy, openness, vulnerability, partnership, and all the feelings, both pro and con, that go with those, as well as when you're searching for that partnership and you are, you've hit that wall of despair. You know that wall that I'm talking about, right? What you do to teach and help people to move past that and reopen, or if they're already open, just be in that right place for them to be loved. So why don't you talk to us a little bit? I know you coach everything. You're like, we were joking, you're a coach of all things, but like kind of like me, right? We talk about manifesting, but you have a specific passion for love. How did you end up focusing on that?
Yeah. Okay. Great question. And first of all, I'm so happy to be here. I love that we get to jam and flow and chat on one of my favorite topics, which is manifesting love. And the background is, quite honestly, as a woman looking for love as a young adult and making all of the classic mistakes in the book. My dad is a hypnotherapist. And so from an early age, I had the intellectual understanding of the subconscious mind and how your belief systems are actually running the show. It's not the conscious mind, as you know. And so I had the intellectual understanding, but how my life was manifesting in relationships was, well, like I said, I made every mistake in the book. So I was like, how do I figure this out for myself? So without going too deeply into the story, because I want to provide as much content as I can here and our conversation today, that is what began my journey into the world of personal development, of how do I actually implement those seeds that were planted, right? The understanding that our subconscious mind is running the show. How do I break those patterns to attract and healthy love? And then furthermore, it's my soul's purpose, my calling, my mission that became clear to me throughout the years that I'm meant to show and teach other women how to do it as well. And underneath it all, when you said coach of all things, underneath it all is truly helping a woman to believe in herself, to believe that what she wants exists, and to help hold her accountable to take an inspired action. Whether that pertains to love, whether that pertains to career, to finances, or physical body, like the what doesn't really matter. When a woman believes in herself and believes that what she wants exists and takes aligned, inspired action, it will manifest, period, end of story. So that's how it all began. That's where I'm at now. And I just absolutely love love and relationships. And I think most women who are in touch with their feminine hearts, they really crave that type of deep connected partnership as well.
Mm. This reminds me of a quote that I found on your blog. By the way, I read your blog extensively. Everybody
Thank
can
you.
read it at emeraldsinclaire.com. I'll put that in the notes. Um, you say the sexiest and most magnetic woman is the woman who is in love with her life. That radiance oozes out of every pore, and men cannot help but be attracted to that. I'm also assuming this means like all orientations and genders, generally speaking, but
Exactly.
that concept, yeah.
And I say that all the time. I mean, yes, my marketing is geared towards heterosexual women who are looking
Mhm,
for a heterosexual man. But the truth is, we're talking energy. So it
mhm.
doesn't matter who you're looking to attract in, who you want to sleep with. Like, none of those superficial details matter. But I love what you said and what you pulled out, because that really is that magic. When you are in love with your life, you are confident, you are attractive, you are magnetic. You're not making it about the other person, whether it's he, she, it, they, like, it doesn't matter the pronouns. It's when you're oozing love out of your body because you are in love with your life, it's magnetic, it's attractive, it's sexy. People turn heads when you walk into the room, and it doesn't have to be sexual in nature. I'm
Mhm.
sure you've walked into a room completely lit up and confident, and guess what? You get attention. Or vice versa. Someone else walks into the room and you're like, who is that? And it's not necessarily because their hair is done, their makeup's done, or they're dressed a certain way, but there is a confidence that they exude. And I absolutely attribute it to a man or a woman who's in love with themselves, in love with their life, doing what they want, feeling incredibly happy, inspired, satisfied, blissed out, grateful, lit up, all of those higher vibration emotions, where they're not making it about, once I get the guy or once I meet the girl, then I'll finally be happy. That's putting your power outside of you, as you know.
Yes, I call that a power leak in the
Yeah.
Flowdreaming world. Um, yes, I'm thinking very much of sometimes when I talk to people, I'm expressing to them the more you work on yourself, the more you grow, the more joyful, self-satisfied, buoyant, um, uh, happy, focused, etc., creative, loving yourself that you are. That is, you want your ideal person to meet that version of you, because the person you're going to meet who loves and is attracted to that is probably going to be around the same level. So that's why for me it always comes back to, okay, so what are you doing inside? How do you take a person on a journey when they start that or restart that desire to be loved, whether they're single or they're in a relationship and just not feeling loved?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And ultimately, your relationship's always going to reflect you back to you. So if you're single and looking for love, or you're in a relationship and you want to have more love in that relationship, it starts with how you're feeling about yourself, how you're treating yourself, how you're talking to yourself, what you're doing for yourself. And so self love is incredibly important. Self care is an aspect of self love. And so it's so easy to think, well, someone else needs to do or say something so that I can feel a certain way, like you were
Mhm,
saying with the power leak, right?
mhm.
And so it's really important that you get honest with yourself. What is it that I need from this other person? And can I give that to myself? I need them to tell me that I'm beautiful. Well, can I tell myself that? I need them to make me dinner, buy me flowers. Couldn't I do that for myself? And so we teach other people how to treat us, and every single individual is completely unique. But at the end of the day, if you want to feel a certain way within a relationship, and that's something you could do, you could make a list of all the feelings that you want to feel, how you think you're going to feel when you're either in the relationship of your dreams or the relationship you're presently in. It's changed, right? Like maybe your partner is finally treating you how you want to be treated. It's not the action, it's not the words, it's the feelings underneath of how you think you're going to feel. And how you take responsibility is asking yourself, well, what could I do to feel that way? So if I want to feel cherished, how can I cherish myself? If I want to feel respected, how can I respect myself? And as you continuously level up how you treat yourself and you're feeling a certain way, and I have an expression with my clients is your partner is either going to step up or step out. The people you're dating, they're going to step up or step out. You have to be the one to hold those boundaries, to hold those standards, to say, these are the rules to play in my sandbox. Like, but you have to be the one to do that first. And so taking your power back, attracting in a partner or shifting the partnership you're in is going to start with you taking responsibility for how it is that you want to feel and not making anybody else out responsible for your happiness or your feelings. But the beautiful catch-22 here is that the world will reflect that back to you because you're not going to settle for anything less than how you're treating yourself. And I was just chatting with a potential new client about this. She was single for 2 years and then she jumped too quickly into a relationship, didn't really have too much discernment over, is this the right person for me? And it fizzled out fast. And so I shared with her, I was like, you don't really have to guilt or shame yourself. You were single for a couple years. You were celibate for a couple years. You kind of forgot. And you were a little bit love-starved. And this person came in and treated you like a queen in many ways, but also didn't in many ways. And so now you get to see it through the lens of, thank you for all of these different ways that you treated me. That's amazing. I'm keeping that. But then all of the reasons or all of the ways that didn't work in that relationship, then you can just flip that on its head. And this is a really empowering, positive way of how my clients speed up the manifesting process. Because how most people will do it is they focus on the negative, what didn't work. They make up a story about themselves. Like, this means I'm getting too old. If there's something wrong with me, if only I would have acted differently, we'd still be together, right? So they either do that story or they make it all about the other person. There's no good men in my town. Online dating sucks. Women only want the money, whatever it is. They make up the stories. But instead, the empowering way to view relationships, to manifest quicker what you desire, is you look for all of the positive that's serving you. And then what you did not enjoy, you look for the lessons, you look for the gratitudes, or you flip it on its head. So then, as you know, you're continuously focusing on what's working. You're not dwelling in the negative. You're not making up any type of victim story, but you are learning the lessons. You're keeping your eyes open. Why didn't this work? Why did I attract this in? So you take personal responsibility for everything. And then you can even ask yourself, how could I level up? How do I need to treat myself differently? What standards, boundaries, communication, etc. So if you're viewing every relationship, every date as a learning opportunity, then you will continuously up level. Your relationships will always get better and better and better. And by better, I mean aligned with who you are being. And so if the goal, as we were saying earlier, is really working on yourself, on being your best self, then every relationship that you're in, whether it's romantic or elsewise, will reflect that back to you. Because again, you're not going to settle for anything less than who you're being and how you're treating yourself.
So here's a question. Actually, I have 3 questions from what you just said.
Okay, bring them on. Rapid fire.
Bring 'em on. Yeah. Okay. First one. They will step in or step out. I love that phrase. And yet I'm also thinking about people from the perspective, people I know intimately and love them. And they're either what we call too picky or they are too giving. Too picky meaning, oh, I'm going to step out. The first red flag, I'm done. And then on the other side of the pendulum is, oh, they did that, but it's okay. Next time they won't. Oh, they did it again. Oh, they did it again. When you're looking, do you feel like there's a need to kind of find the middle ground and sometimes I feel like we judge ourselves. I'm too picky or I'm too giving or that's why I always get the wrong person. Do you know what I'm trying to get at here?
I know what you're saying. And so one of the tools that I have my clients do is make a list and to break the list into 3 categories. I call it the Prince Charming list. You can call it the Princess Charming list. Like, it doesn't matter what it's called, but it does help your logical mind clarify the difference between a non-negotiable, a heart's desire, and an icing on the cake. So for the person who feels like I'm being too picky or the first sign of a challenge or conflict or red flag, they're like, I'm out. You can actually refer to the list and be practical with yourself. Is this really a non-negotiable Or is this perhaps a discussion point? Is this a trigger? Is this an activation within me? And this is why, as I'm sure you know, coaching is so powerful, because you get that unbiased professional who's reflecting back to you if you're kind of being too picky, or
To
you're like,
whatever.
to whatever, or too
yeah.
giving, or too much of a pushover, right? Because it is a balance for every single individual. And we all have our shadows that we're working through. And if you're familiar with the Enneagram, when you say too giving, I'm thinking of like, okay, the type 2 and the Enneagram, and which isn't a bad thing because they have such hearts, but that means they can also err on the side of codependency or foregoing their own needs and desires for someone else.
Yes.
And so if you're also then the person who is the too giving, this is why another tool that's important to understand are your values and your core desired feelings, your core desired needs, and that you're constantly reflecting upon them. Are my needs being met? So that it's not just always about the other person. Right. Or if you have codependency issues, well, then in that case, you're probably going to want to dip into attachment styles. And if you've got more of the anxious attachment style, there's healing to be done there. And so there's not necessarily a cut and dry answer here, but there's definitely tools that you can use to really understand yourself, understand your desires, understand what is truly a deal breaker versus a desire, right? Like a need and a desire are completely different things. And when you understand that, I believe it can give you more discernment in dating so that you don't break up with someone because they loaded the dishwasher the wrong way. Like, come on. That's not really a need, but we could say maybe it's a desire for how you want things to go.
I don't know. It's an A+ check mark in my house. So, all right. So it's figure outable, in other words.
Yeah.
But there's education. So I'm coming in a little blind on this. I have been in a relationship since 1987, which I always joke with people. They say, oh my God, that's so amazing. I'm like, hey, it was a whole accident. Neither one of us planned this. We just kept liking each other every year. And then we were like, let's go another. So I think what happens too is in a longer relationship, I know I just totally shifted gears on you, but I hope that's okay.
It's fine.
All right. Personal question here. I need an answer.
I'm ready. Bring it on.
All right. So I've noticed too that sometimes I will grow and then my husband kind of won't. And then he'll grow and I'm like, I'm not there with you. I don't know what you want. I don't know why you're feeling that way. And it's sometimes like a wave crashing on the shore, but half the wave is still behind. Have you seen that in relationships, that growth curve? Because if you say work on yourself to be the best person, etc., what happens in relationships, or even when you're dating and you're like, I'm ahead of this person here, but they're ahead of me there. Oh my God, what does this mean?
Yeah. Here's the thing. As I know you know, the only constant is change. And so it's why I work with primarily single women, because I view it as preventative. You have, and you also have the blessing of 35 years together, which means you do know each other, you do know yourselves, like you can work through the stuff. I wouldn't imagine there's going to be the like, we need to throw in the towel. It's like everything is figure outable, especially when you've invested that much time with someone. Now, of course, there are plenty of relationships where you invest a lot of time and you do grow apart. And once the kids leave the house, it's like, well, should we actually really be together? Is there enough of a foundation here? But the way I look at it is human beings are going to constantly change, grow, and evolve over time. And especially the people listening to this podcast, they're on a personal development journey, which means they care a lot about changing, about growing, about moving through their shit and releasing their fears and feeling their best and manifesting their dream lives. And so you know you're going to change. And so the way I would be looking at it and approaching it is, what are the tools that you need to have when things come up, such as we're in two different places? Where's your mindset? Where's your communication? Do you see that as a bad thing, or do you actually see it as that's part of the growth and evolution of a relationship, where as we grow, sometimes we're going to be within this parameter where we're still growing and shifting and changing together, and that is the hope and dream. But then sometimes it might be, well, we're completely different. So then if the relationship and the health of the relationship is a separate third entity that you're working towards keeping healthy, then also the two partners in relationship, they do matter and their growth and change matters. But when you put the relationship entity first and foremost, and both partners are working to keep the relationship healthy, then I don't think it matters as much the individual journeys. But again, I'll always err back to, do you have the tools to support you in those times when you need to have the challenging conversations? Are you in touch with your own needs and desires? Can you communicate it? Do you know what it is that you need? Do you know who you are? Do you know your triggers? Do you know your wounds? Are you in communication with your person? And so to me, I think that is so much more important than that you're in these parallel tracks, because I think that's really hard to promise for the rest of your life. Like, that to me just blows my mind. But once again, if you have tools of communication, if you know who you are, then I believe that you've got the best chance of success of a long-term relationship with another human being. But I never guarantee to any of my clients, oh, I'm going to guarantee you're going to meet the person that you're going to be with for the rest of your life. I don't have a crystal ball, but I can give you the tools to attract and maintain a healthy relationship. It may or may not be with one person for the rest of your life. But again, there are certain tools that you can practice to be happy and healthy in a relationship. And if you know how to listen to yourself and trust yourself, and you're connected to your higher self, and you both have that, let's say, shared vision of, we stay in partnership as long as it's both serving us and our life missions or connection to our higher selves. And if and when that's no longer in alignment, we lovingly go our separate ways, then I think that's okay too. Because then you'll also just attract in another relationship at that new level that you've grown to. And so I think it's really important that we dissolve or break apart the Hallmark movie, Disney movie paradigm of a successful relationship is one relationship for the rest of your life, versus I believe a successful relationship is one that you're loving, you're growing, you're connecting, it's serving your bigger soul's purpose, you're connecting to your higher self. And if it ever reaches a point where it's just no longer in alignment, you lovingly release it and you make space. So for the greatest good of all involved is always my adamant prayer when it comes to manifestation and conscious creation is, okay, my ego wants something, but actually my soul wants for the greatest good of all involved.
So that brings up a good, tricky question. Soulmates? If I'm allowed to kind of grow through and move into different relationship levels versus finding the one and only, where does the soulmate? And believe me, people know I'm kind of a heretic a lot in personal growth. So whatever your take, go for it. Everybody's curious.
Yeah. I mean, everyone gets to have their own belief system. That's why it's called a belief system. It's not called an absolute truth system. And so personally, I believe in multiple soulmates. I believe that we incarnate with groups of souls throughout multiple lifetimes. I believe that we can have a soulmate come in for a very specific reason to teach us something, or for a season, or for a lifetime. So I absolutely do not believe in twin flames. I do not believe in there is a soulmate for you and you're damned if you don't meet him or her. But I absolutely believe in soul mates, and I believe sometimes they're romantic, sometimes they're not. For example, my dad's a soulmate. We've had so many incarnations together. But again, if you believe there's only one person for you, that's very much a lack mentality. And then if you believe that the person you just broke up with or got broken up with was your soulmate, then again, you're going to believe that you're going to be single for the rest of your life. So there's a lot of detriment behind the belief system of there's only one person out there for you. Like, that's just complete lack mentality, and I do not subscribe to that at all.
Okay, Emerald, you just passed the test.
Yes. Thank you.
I am always talking about, if we have friends, we don't have just one friend. If we're ancient, spiritual beings, God help me, I hope I have a whole lot of people on my side, and I'm going to show up for them when they need me, where they need me, etc. Yeah, for whatever growth opportunity or love or etc., etc.
Yeah, I mean, and especially if you've ever done any type of past life regressions or tapped into the Akashic records, you'll see, there is no like one person for you. Like, it's beautifully intertwined how all of the important souls in our lives, and typically it tends to be the people that are most challenging that are the most important soulmates in our lives, because that's how we grow. It's not the easy relationships, it's the challenging relationships.
We should do a whole episode on your enemies. Are they here to help you and love you as soulmates? That would be good. Yeah.
I mean, I think people do need
Mm.
to have that reframe
Yeah.
around it. Like that person is not there to bring you down. They're actually there as an obstacle in your path for you to supersede, to grow, to evolve, to how about let more love and understanding and compassion into your heart?
I often call them the sand and the oyster. I'm like, you'll be grateful for them someday. Just you got to wait though. You got to wait.
Exactly. Yeah. Hindsight's
Yeah.
2020, honey.
Okay, one more question because this is speeding along like crazy. Love deserts, kind of like food deserts. I don't meet anybody. I don't know where to meet anybody. I'm too old to meet anybody. I don't like going on apps. You tell me if I just become amazing and start loving my life.
Right.
What do you say to the whole actual attraction part of it, where you are in the right place at the right time? What is your perspective on meeting somebody?
I believe that when you are ready, whatever you are ready, emotionally available for, you will attract into your life. It will show up. Until then, you're getting ready to be ready. So, who are you being in the gap between point A and point B, between who you are and who you want to be, between where you are and where you want to be? And the reality is, yes, we teach manifestation. Yes, we understand conscious creation, but it's a co creation. You do not get to decide the when, the where, the how, the with who. What you do get to decide is who are you going to be today with the ingredients that you have? Are you going to be, once the person shows up, that I'm finally happy? Or are you going to decide that today is going to be the best day of my life based on the ingredients I have and where I am? And so, a big part of the work that I do with my clients, I'm going to say 90%, is helping them to become in love with their lives, not having it be dependent on anything. And there's usually so many areas we can clean up in regards to health, in regards to finances, in regards to their friend group, their career, what they're doing with their free time. And in the process of you forgetting about, I really want to be with the partner, and instead truly focusing on yourself and making your life amazing, that is what attracts in people, places, experiences at that same vibrational frequency. So it can be hard because our mind gets so attached to it has to be a person that fits into my life. I need to get married. I need to have kids. But the reality is that type of attachment is only going to bring you misery. So hold
Mm.
on to the vision, of course, this or something better, one of my favorite affirmations, for the greatest good of all involved. And in the meantime, since I can't control some of these details, I'm going to focus on what I can control, which is actually quite a bit, like who you are and how you show up and what you think and how you feel, what you believe, the actions you take. Like you get to control so much in your life, but you've got to let go of the details that you cannot control because it will bring you misery. It will lower your vibration. And yeah, it will affect your ability to attract in. And we meet
Mhm.
people where we're at. So if you're in lack and fear and desperation, that's not the energy you want to be in for love. You want to be way up here, which is I love who I am and I love my life and the right person's going to show up at the right time. You want to be attracting in a relationship when you are like high as a kite in a really high energetic state, not this need and desperation. And so how you get from need and desperation to loving and confident and trusting, well, that journey is different for every single person, right? Like that's why personal
Yeah.
development is huge right now, because
Yeah.
that does help you work your way up the vibrational scale and move through trauma and pain and insecurities and generational crap that we've inherited from our parents and their parents and their parents. Like this is the time on the planet right now to do the work, to ascend, to connect with love. And that truly is my mission. How do I personally connect so deeply with unconditional love, have that reflected
Mhm.
back to me in partnership, and then teach other human beings how to do the same? And it's going to be a lifelong journey for me. It's going to be lifetimes long for me, but that truly is what I wish for every single human being, not a relationship out of fear or desperation or lack, but a
Mhm.
relationship out of true, I love who I am and I love my life and I want to share it with another beautiful human being.
Mm. And I might meet them at pickleball or on Dog Beach or in the aisle at Home Depot or
Yeah.
picking up my coffee or picking up my kid from school. Could happen anytime, anywhere.
Absolutely. And these are great
Mm.
examples and more of how my clients have met their person. And it's not because they're
Mhm.
trying. And sometimes, yeah, they go onto the dating apps and meet them that way. But again, it's not out of fear or desperation. It's they feel inspired. Their energy is high. And they're like, okay, now I'm feeling good. And so input equals output. who you're being when you show up is so much more important than the actions that you're taking, which is why people can be online dating for years and have zero results versus work with me for a couple of months, go online, boom, meet their person on their second date, because it's who you're
Yeah.
being when you take action.
I noticed on your website, you mentioned there's quite a few people, it's like within 6 months they are getting married. And my brain is going, 6 months? Oh my God, what? How does that happen?
Yeah, that's too fast. And so here's the thing. I would say in the past, there was certainly a logical side of me that's like, that is too soon. How can you really know the person? You need to have an entire season, an entire year with them. Dr. Pat Allen talks about that. And on one hand, I guess, yes, that might be a good idea, especially if you're spending the rest of your life with them. What's the rush? Now, on the other hand, though, and this is the work that I do with my clients, when you are ready, you're ready. Like, you're getting ready to be ready. And so when you do all the work prior to meeting your person, they're at that level then. So it's like you really do just know. It's the soul's recognition and not soulmates. It's just I'm clear in who I am and what I desire and what I'm available for. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind. And then that person shows up. So it just depends. How much work has the person done prior to working with me? How much work, how dedicated are they to doing the work while together? And so I love sharing these stories because I want people to believe and think that it actually doesn't have to be hard. It actually doesn't have to take a lot of time. The time isn't running out. I'm not getting too old. And I have plenty of stories as well where my client met their person a year later after working together, and they continuously did the work and continuously worked through their crap, and then they met their person. And at the end of the day, like, if it takes you an extra year, what's it matter? We're talking lifelong love. Like, the more time you can spend preparing yourself for that type of relationship, I think the better. And the more time you just make your life the life you love in the meantime, then that's all that matters. And I'll use myself as an example.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, exactly.
Win-win.
Exactly. So it's like, if you're happy on the path to happily ever after, isn't that all that really matters?
And that is the perfect way to wrap this up. Yes, that's all that really matters. Emerald, I could talk for another half an hour. I've discovered there's lots of questions I have about relationships, but we're going to pull it right here, and I'm going to refer people to your website, emeraldsinclaire.com. That's Emerald with a Y, EMYRALD, Sinclaire with an E.com. But again, just look it up in the show notes and you'll see it. You can also find you on Instagram, Manifest with Emerald. And you've got some good, yummy things on your website too for people who are curious, like, what is this inner work she's talking about that I need to be doing right now? You have a ton for everybody, right?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Whether they're binging through the blog, or I'm a big Instagram fan because I love being on camera and video. So they're like 60-second, 90-second snippets on there. And then the podcast, of course, which you were on.
Oh, of course.
Not
to mention
manifest it all. It's okay. I'll manifest it for you. And the all stands for abundance, love, and life of your dreams, so that we can get into so many topics, right? Because once again, it's not the thing, it's the feeling. And I wake up and experience satisfaction and gratitude most moments of most days. And to me, that's success. I really don't care about the details. If I'm happy, grateful, and satisfied most moments of most days, I'm a success. I will take that every single day for the rest of my life.
100%. As I always say too, give the person that you intend to meet or are with the very best person that you personally can become and are inside yourself. Yeah. That's the greatest gift you can give somebody. Don't give them a lesser version of who you are. So work on yourself.
And the greatest gift you could give yourself.
Oh, that too. How
about that? Let's be selfish. I'm going to be my best self for me, and then give it to someone else and see it reflected back.
Exactly. The ultimate relationship with self.
Yeah.
Emerald, thank you. Stimulating, lovely, lots to think about. Clearly, you know what you're doing. It's been a privilege being able to talk with you and talk with you again.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
Isn't Emerald just a wise woman? A wise woman love coach. I could have asked her questions for another couple of hours, not just for people who are single and looking, but I got a little of my own in there. What about relationships that are really long-standing? How do they continue to thrive and grow? Maybe we'll circle back with her at some future point. In the meantime, please do look her up. Check her out. Her name, again, Emyrald Sinclaire, emeraldsinclaire.com, and check out her podcast, Manifest It All. And the all stands for abundance, love, life of your dreams. Like she mentioned, she's also crazy about Instagram. Lots and lots of reels and videos there. And you can find her at Manifest with Emyrald. Emyrald with a Y. So check her out. In the meantime, love to you all. I cannot wait to see you all again soon. Have another gorgeous episode of learning and insights. And so with that, I will see you all, my lovelies, next time for another episode of Flow Dreaming, Still Kinda Woo-Woo. Hey friends, I just want to point you in the direction of a couple of resources that might just light up your day. First, I have an app. It's called Flow Dreaming for meditation and manifesting. And it has hundreds of flow dreams and playlists that you can use, download, enjoy to start sculpting these energies of your life. Now, second, there is a YouTube channel for flow dreaming. I know, who'd have guessed? The best thing you can find on that channel, aside from also this podcast, is a tutorial. It teaches you how to flow dream. I'm right there on the screen with you, leading you through several beautiful and gorgeous flow dreams that we do together. So go check it out. Look up Flow Dreaming on YouTube and have a good time. Enjoy yourself with these beautiful free resources. And if you feel the urge, reach out to me. I am always available, summer@flowdreaming.com, and I'll help you. And together, we'll discover what maybe a perfect personalized flow dreaming program for you could be like. To find out how to do that, just go visit my website, flowdreaming.com. Until next time, love to you all.